Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm my husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Subscribe button, bell notification. Tonight we're talking about Married at First Sight. Season 17, episode number 4, right? Episode 4. Let's get to it.
All right. So everybody's married now, except for Michael, for obvious reasons. But everybody's married now, and we've done the receptions, and now it's time to go to the honeymoon suite. So, we've seen a range of things. So going into this is like, okay, well, these couples, most of them talk the night away.
But people don't get that. When anybody carries somebody over the threshold, when they get put on their back, when they walking together, just the whole,
all of that.
Yeah,
all of that. And so, we do see them having little conversations in the limousine or the car, whatever, on the way to the honeymoon suite, the hotel, whatever. But first, we start with Becca and Austin, and we got the infamous Married at First Sight rose petals. They got the red rose petals.
Red everywhere, baby.
Everybody got a mix, but different ones. And so Austin jumps on the bed of the petals and everything. And they talk about which side you want to sleep on. He said he sleeps on the left side because he had an injury.
Snowboarding, right?
Snowboarding. Yeah. And they talked about, okay, do you like to snuggle, whatever. She said she likes to snuggle before bed. And then it's like, I guess when you really get sleepy, not when I know what happens. Invariably it happens. I would love to know people that cuddle all night long. Like you wake up in that spot.
Nobody wakes up in that spot. You start cuddling and then y'all go your separate ways in your sleep. Yeah, you may not recognize it, you may not know it, but
not on purpose. Not it, you just get comfortable in the bed.
Yeah, nobody who starts cuddling and go to sleep, wake up cuddling. Now, if that's you guys,
let me know.
Let me know. Yeah, let me know how you do it. Because it don't
after a while it's not comfortable.
Unless we cuddling on a couch or something, we in 2 different spots.
Even then
we wake up. So
but so she says, she does snuggle and cuddle before bed and as they start to fall asleep. And then, I separate.
I'm gonna put a petition in the middle.
She did. Yeah. She did. And so we hear them saying, it's been surprisingly easy and natural for them. It's got good vibes and energy. He helps her get undressed. So she, she's got the peasant style kind of wedding dress. Yeah. And so she's got a lot of buttons down. And she was like, usually it takes a crochet hook to get it out. And he was like, I don't know, maybe you could use a paper clip. She was like, you got a paper clip with you? He didn't. He used a key instead, which was kind of working. But I was like, yeah, why would you have a paper clip?
All I could think about was let's make a deal. Like, what do you have in your pocket?
Everybody have a paper clip.
Everybody got a needle. Everybody got a thimble. Things like that. Who keeps that stuff?
So we see them prepare for bed. One thing I see was kind of consistent with all the ladies. They kind of had the same kind of bed clothes on. So she had a sleeping short set, and she was like, "I'm doing good." Now hers wasn't satiny or whatever; it was cotton, and she had like a long sleeve.
She had cotton that had flowers on it.
Yeah, it was pink.
Pink, and then if you go you can find it on Amazon. Shout out to MSAFN, whatever.
MAFS fan.
Yeah, you got the link, whatever. But I might drop it in the description if anybody want to go buy it. So.
Yeah, but she said she thought she would, bring her best. She said usually I wear a baggy T-shirt to bed, and so he's getting for bed, and he's got a baseball cap on. She was like, "You had a baseball cap on?
Yeah.
Are you gonna wear that to bed?" He was like, "Yeah."
Strange. Weird. A lot of people do it. I wouldn't. I mean, in the middle of the night, I'm not taking my clothes off to put a cap on.
No. But she says, as they're preparing for bed, she plans on. We'll probably talk tonight. I'm trying to figure out the best time to talk to him about my health issues. So I'll probably leave that to the morning and approach it then. That was the best thing to do.
Yeah, because they're tired, they're exhausted. I mean, that to add that on top of the exhaustion, the tired, the long day, wouldn't be good. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be good for neither one of them. And because I'm sure he had questions, so he got questions. So.
And so we'll keep going with Becca and Austin.
Yeah.
So the next morning, wake up, very cuddly. She said she woke up very comfortable. Again, it's so natural for them. They just kind of feel like they've been knowing each other.
And they both realize they're nerds.
Yes.
They both realize it. And nothing wrong with that. Video game nerds, that's the works.
Yeah.
I love it.
And they get breakfast the next day. Whatever meal they had, it had some pickles on it. She was like, "Ooh, got pickles." And she was like, "Oh, you got some pickles?" He was like, "I really don't like pickles." She was like, "Oh, I don't like pickles either." So they decided to go through, okay, let's see what else kind of food. And so she says, "What about mushrooms?" And he was like, "Yeah, I like mushrooms." She was like, "Oh man, first thing that we don't agree on, I don't like mushrooms." And then, okay, what about olives? And he's like, "No, I don't like olives." She was like, "Well, I can tolerate olives." So again, they're finding some things that they don't necessarily agree on, or
food wise.
Yeah.
So what do we agree on food wise?
Quite a bit of stuff.
I don't do chitlins anymore.
Oh, but I do chitlins.
I don't do that. Don't do jalapenos.
I do jalapenos.
I don't do jalapenos like that. So yeah, just cool things.
But we both do mushrooms.
I do mushrooms.
He does olives sometimes. I don't do olives.
I do olives.
Yeah. So they're finding some things that they've been like neck and neck. We match on everything.
Before, the couple that the experts have done to me, they've done either the application process was more detailed this time, but it seemed like the experts done a great job matching these couples together, especially Austin and Becca.
And so we know, which is par for the course. After they wake up the next morning, then they go meet with each other's family and friends, family and or friends. And in this case, Austin goes to meet with Becca's friends, Lindsay, Marina, and Nick. And Becca meets with Austin's mom and dad, Suzanne and Andy, his friend Nick, and then Navina, which is a friend of his. Yeah. So, Lindsay's friends asked Austin, how's everything going? And, how did y'all vibe last night? Because she's a night owl. He was like, well, actually, I'm a night owl too. So, that's not going to be an issue.
I was like, because she talked about that. It's like, what time you go to bed? He's like, I'm usually in bed this time, I guess. So, well, I get up at 10. But I go to bed about 2. He's like, so we're never going to see each other.
Right. And he works from home. Yeah. He works from home is the other thing. So, he could be a little bit more flexible when it comes to his waking up time. But he was like, I work from home, got my career, whatever. And they just let him know, you're going to find out that Lindsay.
Wrong show. I mean, wrong right show, but wrong season.
No, it's the friend. Yeah. The friend named Lindsay. I think she was the one that was saying it, but said that Becca is a type that she'll push you in whatever it is you're doing. She'll push you. She'll try to motivate you. She might even plan stuff out for you. So be aware she might do that. And he was like, okay, yeah. And how did I skip that? Let me go back. Because when they have their breakfast that morning, that's when she talks to him about her health issues.
Yes, she does.
Lord have mercy. Because she wanted to talk to him when he was more awake and alert and could really, digest what she was saying. And so she says, I had a surgery before we got married. I was found to have endometriosis, but it's in some other areas, and it ended up being a more extensive surgery.
Can you explain that to people that don't know?
No. Look it up. But endometriosis, so it's when endometrium, uterine tissue, is found outside of the uterus. And so it causes abdominal pain and may have some abnormal bleeding. It can cause fertility issues, whatever. So for her, and they call it implants. So the uterine tissue implants somewhere else. And she said in a previous episode that hers had implanted like on her appendix.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Nurse Jackie. Appreciate it.
But you can still look it up. And so she said she ended up having a more extensive surgery. So she was in a lot of pain, but she feels a whole lot better now. But she let him know too. So when we go on a honeymoon, it may be some things that we do that I won't be able to participate in.
Yeah.
But I'm all there for it. Because of this. And then she explains before in a previous episode, she said she had an autoimmune disorder, but she actually says what it is. She's got ankylosing spondylosis. And so that is it's a disorder where it affects your spine. And so she says, I have a lot of pain issues.
You've been dealing with what, 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And she said she takes shots for that.
Yeah, she takes injections for it. And so he was like, so do you have pain like all the time? And she said, I'm always in pain, and I have been. So that's like my normal. It's hard to say, you know, I haven't known anything different.
I don't know anything different. I've been doing it for so long. I just deal with it.
Yeah, but she said that she was nervous to discuss it with him because, like, in past relationships, she felt like because I had a health issue was a burden, and he was like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that with me."
And which is good for him. I mean, I think it was good for her to tell him early, and not find out. It was good for him to understand what it is and know how he can be a support for her and meet the need and not be a burden. And now he knows that people have dumped her because of the burden, so it's put on. I won't say put a burden on him, but put on his mind like, hey, you know what? Don't be that guy. This your wife. Don't be that guy.
And so that takes me back to when he met with her friends, and they were like, "Did she tell you about the health issue?" What I like that Austin said was, "Yeah, she told me about it." And after she told me, he was like, I started looking into it. I started investigating because I wanted to know what it's about. And what they told him, go ahead.
He probably like Google, what's WebMD, what's which is good because you want to know what to look for. I mean, and you want to see and not only look and see, but I want to understand, right? What it is that she may be going through, what kind of pain it is, and what can you do to assist? Because it's new territory for him being able to assist somebody with that disease, but it's also new territory for her to having somebody who wants to be able to help and support. And that's where, because you don't want to bump heads and make it an issue where you guys are bumping heads. You should be doing this, you should be doing that. And she's like, hold up, I got this because I had this before you, and this is how I take care of it. Don't come and try to change my routine now.
But that's the one thing that her friends pointed out to him is like, okay, so she had her procedure around Christmas time, and so she was at home recovering by herself. And they were like, she'll do that. She'll just go through it and won't say anything, but be more in tune to her when it comes to that, because she's used to going through it with by herself. And so her friends Marina and Lindsay were like, they liked what Austin was saying. They feel like he passed with flying colors, and they were reassured when they had the conversation about the health issues. What he said to them, they were reassured. Okay, he will be supportive. So, and I fully expect him to be too.
I think he'd be there. I think he'd be in a moment. I think he'd be very supportive for her.
Yeah.
Because I laughed and joked with you, like when the insurance question gonna come up. But she had doing all that, she has on insurance. So.
Yeah, hopefully so. But her friends are excited for them, and they did share the thing, like, oh, and by the way, when y'all had your first kiss, like, yeah, everybody felt that. So y'all keep that spark going.
Keep it going.
So on the flip side, so like I said, Becca meets with Austin's mom, Suzanne, dad, Andy, friend Nick, and Navina. And okay, so what were your first thoughts? My first thoughts about Becca says her first thoughts about Austin was he's very charismatic and he's personable. And they were like, yeah, he is. He likes to hang out and have a good time. What about you? And she was like, well, I hang out with my friends or whatever. But remember, Becca doesn't drink.
No, not at all.
And that was a conversation they had too about the olives. He's like, I like olives in my martini. And, so I'll drink it that way. She was like, well, I don't really drink.
But I had a martini before.
Right. And so she says, I hang out with my friends, but we don't always do a lot of drinking. We hang out and we might have themed nights where we have a debate about, well, is a cupcake a muffin? And why isn't a muffin a cupcake? And his friend was like, oh, boy, this is the kind of stuff that Austin be thinking about, talking about, too. So I'm not going to get away from it. Okay.
Why is a cupcake not a muffin? Why is a muffin not a cupcake? Does the icing make a cupcake a muffin?
I don't know.
I mean, make a muffin a cupcake?
I don't know. Just like it was something about like, is a burger a sandwich or is something else a hot dog? What was that thing?
A hot dog.
Is something a sandwich?
A burger's a sandwich, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it was something. It must not have been a burger. Maybe it was a hot dog or I don't know. But is that a sandwich?
I'm from the country. We didn't always have hot dog buns. So we took hot.
It ain't just because from the country.
Okay, shoot. We took hot dogs and put them on regular
bread. We
put it
on sandwich bread.
Sandwich bread and smush them together. So that to me was a sandwich. So.
All
right.
And her, his parents were like, I worry about him being the fact that y'all are strangers and you have to get to know each other. And his mom was like, it's gonna try your patience. I want you to know reality gonna slap you in the face.
I like his mother. That's the type of parent I want to be.
She was like, oh honey, reality gonna slap you in the face.
But that's the type of parent I am. I would tell my kids, spouse or significant other, before they even get married, like, hey, this is their problems. This is their issue. I'm letting you know. I've seen it. Might even contribute to it, but this is what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with the person. I like her honesty because Becca didn't have the chance to date him,
right?
So she didn't get the chance to see this. So the mom is doing what I would expect most people to do in this situation. I'm giving you everything that I know is wrong with him.
Yeah, and she let him know I'm a mama bear. He's my one and only.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is take care of his heart, protect his heart. And what she said underneath that was, and if you don't, we're going to have a problem. And Becca was like, I'm telling you, I'm going to take care of his heart. She said, I know falling in love can be one of the scariest things you do. And so you have to be vulnerable and you have to give your heart to someone. So she says, I will take care of his heart. You don't have to worry about that with me. And I really do believe she means that. She just seems really sweet.
She's sincere.
And Becca kind of got teared up talking about it. And the mom's like, don't you start crying, because if you cry, I'm going to cry.
Mama bear start crying together.
Yeah. Huh? And she was like, so that was important to her that, you would take care of his heart.
Yeah.
And so I think that's it with Becca and Austin. Later on, we talk about them when they get their basket and find out they're going to Cancun.
Yeah.
Cancun.
Palladium.
Yeah, that she couldn't get it out.
She couldn't get it out.
She couldn't
get Palladium out.
All right. So next we got Lauren and Orion.
The L&O.
O&L.
O&L.
L&O. And they come into their suite. Now, Becca and Austin walked in. Lauren and Orion walked in.
And they didn't have red flowers. They ran out of red flowers.
They had pink rose petals. They didn't run out. They just did different. But they had rose petals on the bed. And so it's like, okay, let me get a little bit more comfy. He does help her get out of her dress. And she was like, it might take you a while because it took three people to get me in. And he was like, it's okay.
That's okay.
I'm going to take my time. I'm going to get it out. The cutest thing with them, I thought, when they were getting ready for bed. So again, it must be a theme. She had her satin PJ short set on as well. And he was like, oh, you look nice. But it was, okay, so she had a short sleeve and shorts.
All right, so I'm gonna let you finish, Kelly. I'm gonna go get my explanation.
He had a long sleeve and pants.
And they
to go to bed.
Different temperature, different people. Different temperature,
I agree, but I was like, it's so extreme.
But he didn't pack anything more, nightwear. He needed. I don't want to sleep in. Sleepy in in nude in a buff.
No, he didn't say it. So,
I know. Somebody else is up.
Excuse me. It was Emily.
Emily, yeah.
But he's, she was like, let me go to bed, prepare myself for bed. And he was like, they talk about, well, she helped him take the yarn out for his bun. And so he's like, oh, I need to do something with my hair.
Curly.
Because I like the way you have your hair. Maybe you can give me some ideas on what to do with my hair. She was like, oh, I'm going to tell you how to put your hair up.
Hold on for a minute.
You heard of a bonnet? He was like, a bonnet?
A bonnet.
She was like, hold that thought. I got two of them. Sis is prepared. She brought two of her satin bonnets. He was like, what's a bonnet?
One of his first introductions into the culture.
What's a bonnet? And she was like, oh, it's a satin or silk cap you put on to protect your hair. And wait, hold on. I got you. I got one. And so she pulls out a black bonnet and I think she had a green one.
Yeah.
And he puts it on. I laughed because at first he kind of just put, no, you gotta tuck your hair in there. Yeah. And she puts it on. She's like, oh my goodness, we bonnet
buddies.
Which was cute because he says that later. I was like, she gonna help you get your hair right.
She get your hair right.
I know she is.
You're gonna be you'll be all right. She's gonna be. You both y'all being a hairdresser. Can we talk about that? They talk about that.
They talk about that later. And so as they go to bed, he asked her, "Is it okay if I give you a kiss?" He was like, "Sure." And I think he did more to peck her because he has back turned for quite a bit.
Right. Which we come to find out that morning that they did talk about sex.
Yes.
They had a conversation to discuss sex. They didn't have sex, but it discussed in deep detail about sex. And they both decided they want to wait to have sex and see how things progress.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they said it is on the table, but they want to build a foundation first.
Yeah.
And they talk about what's your morning routine. She was like, my morning routine can vary. He was like, I pretty much like quiet mornings, get myself together, whatever. And for her, she was like, I would have to get used to having somebody in my routine because I've been living by myself for over a year and a half. I'm used to doing things on my own. So, and then she said also dealing with somebody. She said, sometimes when I get in a mood, I don't always like to talk about feelings. And when we do, like put forth the issue, we might end up arguing. And he was like, no problem. If
just
you don't, just communicate to me, and we'll put, be like, let's table this for now and come back to it. He was like, it's all about, talking or whatever, and communicating. So she says, who I'm gonna be meeting with, your mom and your sister. Give me some pointers. And he was like,
they were protective. They out there.
He was like, at first, I was nervous about it. You meeting with my mom and my sister because they got strong personalities. But after talking to you, I think you can handle it.
I think you'll be all right.
And he was like, your dad had me shaking in my boots, pretty much.
Yeah, Pop's like, yo, there's no reason for me to ask you about my daughter now. Y'all already went through this situation. There's no reason for you to say, but I got basically about that. Was like, I got an eye on you. I'm watching you.
And so Lauren's like, well, luckily my dad won't be there to meet you today. And he ended up meeting with her brother Marcellus, a friend of hers, and I think it was both friends, or else it was a family member. Let's see. Yeah, it was two friends that Orion met with. All right, so like I said, they woke up the next morning, bonded buddies. He does share that when he talks to her family.
Yeah.
So their question for him was, do you think you can be the person that she needs you to be? And he was like, yeah, I have the capacity to do it. He talked about the fact that he did have a father, but his father left when he was younger. And so, it shifted him into the mode of, a lot of times when that happens, boys are told, oh, you got to be the man in the house. You can't really be a man because you're young,
you're still young.
But you can have that, what he said, that protector.
Yeah, but you can't be a man in the house because, again, no one's taught you how to be the man because the man that you had is gone. And so other men will have to step in to give you that knowledge and education. So I get the saying, but at the same time, it was a process. That's what he kind of said.
Yeah, he says, I would protect her of my sister and my mom. And he said, so that's what I could be for her in that space. And okay, so so along those lines, her friend was like, okay, so how do you feel about being with a strong, independent Black woman? And he was like, you know what? I feel empowered. I feel empowered, and
good answer.
And I hold it in high regard that she's a strong, independent Black woman, and I'm going to support her in that. I'm for the culture, whatever.
I'm down.
And then their question was, so are you financially stable? Like, how's that? And he was like, right now I have a consistent paycheck. And
that makes a difference.
I have a job to work. I'm very focused on my career. I can handle that or whatever. And there are other things to him outside of talking about being financially stable. Because again, along those lines, she's an independent Black woman. I could do it by myself.
I don't need you to do it. I got money.
But it's nice to have somebody to do
somebody
it
else
with,
to handle the business with,
and to hold up, your end of the relationship.
But also hold her accountable too, though. So that accountability piece of marriage is great when you accountable to one another, and nothing wrong with your wife. I don't want to say the word checking you, but checking you, and nothing wrong with your husband checking you. Like, hey, get your stuff together.
And so they just did let him know that, sometimes she gets in her head, again, because she's very independent. So y'all have to work on navigating that together and getting that together. So like I said, Lauren met with Orion's mom, Tawny, and his sister Bronte.
No, I'm gonna say I want to get to the part where I like the part where Bronte, right? I can't remember her name. when she just talk about how they was bullied
Mm-hmm.
and how they didn't fit in
Mm-hmm.
because they're mixed race, because they're being mixed. I didn't fit in. They're
Yeah,
being
because
bullied.
they're biracial.
They're biracial, and how Lauren was like, I'm gonna make sure he belongs. And because the question about how you could bring him into your culture, she's like, I'm gonna make sure he belongs. And I think that's good, because when you have racial dating, the other person doesn't need to feel like they belong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only the other person need to feel like they belong, the family of the other person need to feel like they belong, and can embrace it. So I thought, that was good for his sister. Like, you know what? I'm glad that she didn't even focus on the love part.
Mm-hmm.
She focused on the part that, you want to allow us to belong, him to belong in his family. For so long we wasn't able to belong in this culture or this thing because of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was key for her.
Yeah.
Mom wasn't as scary as I thought she would be. The way he talked about his mother made you think that she was like,
she's pretty much quiet, and she seemed kind of contemplative, like, let me hear what she got to say. But Bronte also was like, okay, what's your intentions? And she was like, well, obviously I may have had some different intentions before I met this person, when it was just I'm getting ready at first sight. But now that I've met him, she says, I'm not completely sure. We'll have to navigate that and see how we get together. But basically, her intentions were to get married at first sight and to be married and work on that.
And it's only been a few hours.
But other than that, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's only been a few hours. What have we really? What have we really discussed?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the question people ask. I will ask. It was a friend of mine, like, what have y'all discussed in the last 5 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours to make you want to even continue this process?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then
besides the contract you signed,
they talked about age difference. Is that an issue? She was like, no, now I've got to know him, my concerns about age have diminished. And her other thing was, we talked about the fact that he's been living at home, but he's still been working and,
trying to get
building himself up. So they were like, well, along the lines of him working, just so you know, he's not that. She said, Lauren says, I'm very affectionate or whatever. And they were like, look, when he gets home from work, he needs some time to unwind. Yeah. So give him about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And then you can get to him. She was like, well, that's good to know, because I don't want to jump on him. And he'd be like, hold on.
Wait a minute. What you doing?
Let me get my mind right.
Well, some people just sit in the car for 10, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Ain't go to the house. Mm-hmm. Some people sit, whatever the case may be, go straight upstairs, take a shower, or hop in the shower and get themselves together before they come down and greet everybody. So,
yep. All right. So next we got Emily and Brennan. Mm-hmm. And then we go back to the red rose petals. They had the red rose petals.
They're the good stuff.
And when it comes to them, let's see. I think, was he the one? I think he carried her over the threshold.
Yeah, he did.
He's one of the, I think they might have been the only ones.
Yeah,
he carried her over the threshold, and they were both like exhausted. They were laying on the bed, and the closing was like, man, look at us laying on the bed.
He was asleep.
Maybe we should. Yeah, he did drift off for a minute.
He drifted off for a minute.
Maybe we should take these clothes off. And so, they go to get undressed, and she was like, yeah, let's go strip. Let's strip. And so she needs help getting out of her dress. And I don't know if y'all noticed it, but we noticed it, like she had nothing.
No undergarments. Oh, this is her MO.
She had nothing up under that dress.
She doesn't wear undergarments. Because remember, she's the same one, if I'm not mistaken, isn't she the same one at the bachelorette party was on the wall? That was dancing, and they had to blur it out because she had. So again, Emily don't like drawers, y'all. Unless she got the little pasties.
She prefers to be in the buff.
Unless she wearing the little pasties, whatever the case may be. But she don't like being in a buff. She don't like being dressed.
She had nothing.
She like undergarments.
She had nothing on up under that dress.
Now, I don't understand. You a woman. How do you go all day in your wedding dress? I cannot. And not have any.
I think it depends. First of all, if you were A, B, maybe even a C cup, you might can get away from it. But if you got anything larger than a triple D, you're gonna need that bra on.
They got that tape now too.
It do, but again, you're gonna need something.
Yeah.
You're gonna need something, or these clothes ain't gonna look right. So yeah. I cannot relate.
Yeah. But Brennan was happy because when he got to that point, he was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, she's like nude up under there. So she goes and she has her cami PJ short set, and she's like, I try to be nice and put something on because usually I wouldn't. And so they're so into each other, like wanting to spend time with each other. They're like kind of whispering, but so the camera can hear. It's like, you know,
I didn't forget the mic.
I sure do wish they would leave.
I wish they would leave.
I'm ready for them to go.
Like, say goodnight, y'all.
Yeah, say goodnight.
Say goodnight. I'm going to sleep.
And so the next morning, she said she woke up to about 8 million texts because it's gotten around. Oh, Emily got married, because remember, she hasn't had a serious relationship.
Yes, none.
And so they're like, who's this mystery man? You know, she's trying to share a little bit of information or whatever. But they said they had a good cuddle session that night. Everything went well, and no sex.
No sex. She said she wanted to, but she didn't really. She felt it, but she really wasn't going to try to do it
because she feels like he wants to take it slow. And I think she said, I'm gonna take it slow too, because she said, in not so many words, like, which is obvious because we had that conversation. You haven't had a serious relationship, but she didn't say she was a virgin. So that means you got into the physical, even though you didn't get emotionally connected necessarily. So her thing is, let me do it different this time and not jump right into that.
Jump into it.
And so they talk about, you know, what's your morning routine, what you do. And he was like, you know, I get up at a reasonable time in the morning, but I do still kind of have that fog. So it takes
middle of the day,
yeah, it's about the middle of the day. She was like, yeah, it takes me a minute to wake up, but one thing about it, I do get up and blare my music in the morning.
EMD and AC.
Yeah, she said I blare my music in the morning. So if you got an issue with that, I might have to change it. So
here's the part where I was like,
do you like the windows open in the winter or not? He was like, I prefer it closed. She was like, I like it open. They talked about the temperature in the house.
68 degrees, y'all. Ain't no way. I'm sorry. My house doesn't say it's 68 degrees.
It really don't.
68 degrees cold. 68 degrees is kind of, it's just
and
chilling.
Then if she got the windows open in Colorado
in the wintertime, it's about 50 degrees in that house. She just
chilling. Oh, it's less than that.
She's just chilling.
It's less than that. I ain't gonna do that.
Nope, can't do it. About a good 70, 72.
I want to be comfortable.
72 and sunny is always in our house.
All the time. The one thing we saw them do that maybe the other couples did, but we just didn't see it, is, oh, maybe we should exchange numbers. So they exchanged numbers. Yeah. And he was like, how'd you put your name? She's like, I just put my name. He's a shoot. I put hubby in there.
I put hubby in there.
So you know it's me. It's me.
And she's like, well, I guess we should put your last names to make it more.
Yes, I can get used to your last name.
Your last name, so.
So we see Emily and Brennan go meet with their family and friends. And Emily meets with Brennan's mom and dad. That's Aaron and Gary, and his friend Richie. And so it's like, you know, how did it go? Last night was good. We're still getting to know each other and figure out what us means. And Emily was like, you know, I've always wanted to be a good wife. I'm nurturing, and what does it mean when you say good wife? So, you know, like nurturing and making a happy home, but she said, but I am career driven, and so that's what I've been into, and that's one thing that her family says to Brennan. They talk about that.
Real quick, I'm glad they had to define what's good, because good is a big broad term, right? And we'll get to that when we get to Kim and other couple. We need specifics. You need specifics of what is good. What does that mean? How? Because again, if I don't give the person sitting across the table specifics, how can they tell me my spouse does that or not, or doesn't even like that? I need specifics on what it, you know. He may not need a home cooked meal every day. He may need you to cook from scratch and not be like who was that Katina when Elijah wanted the meal and she couldn't boil water. I'm just saying.
His parents share with Emily that he can be stubborn sometimes. He gets hung up on something if it's what he wants, and you know it's not going that way. He can be a little abrupt. And she was like, well, wait, what you mean, like abrupt? Like, does he have a temper? And his mom was honestly, sometimes he can't get a temper. Emily was like, mental note.
Red flag.
Mental note.
Red flag.
Let me make note. Shut him down. Yeah.
What you ain't gonna do.
Don't talk to me like that. She's like, in the back of her head. That's what she did.
What you ain't gonna do is.
His parents, when they had their little vignette off, his mom was like, you know, it seems like they're both kind of perfectionists. and they're driven, and so that can be a concern and maybe an issue where they bump heads or whatever.
Right.
But she said, all in all, I think it might be okay. Remember that you're changing your life from independent, and how are you going to adjust to that? And Emily was like, we're just going to communicate. We're going to communicate and keep that at the forefront.
But when people talk about that, and you can still have your independence and still be married, right? There's some things that are going to change, and there's some things that are going to bleed over and mix. But you can still have your own sense of independence. I think, wasn't it Married First Sight where they talking about going out and friends and hanging out with friends and things of that nature? Probably a couple seasons ago. But it was Alexis and Justice, because Alexis wanted to hang out with her friends and Justin didn't want her to hang out.
Yeah. So Richie said he was concerned about the fact that she didn't have any serious relationships. And she said, I think I'm serious, about settling down before. Now I'm at a place where I feel like I can settle down and kind of, work that out. So as far as when Brennan talked to her dad, Charlie, her sister, Sarah, and her mom, Patty, what was your first thought when you saw Emily? I thought she was beautiful. She had good energy or whatever. They let him know that, she tends to work long days. Wow. So, how are we going to work that out? She loves her job and she's good at it. And he says, we'll just have to communicate. Are you stressed? Are you, how you feeling?
Should I come up there and have lunch with you today? Right? Should I, or should you, so when you come home, dinner's already made. Like, again, you handle the long work hours by substituting what you can do for that person. How can I assist you with your day? Right? How can I help when you get home? We talked about it a few minutes ago with, Orion and Lauren. Like, I need time to process. When you get home, do you need time to process? Do you need to take a shower? Do you want dinner on time? So, I mean, roles become reversed. I don't want to say role because we don't know what their roles are. We know their gender are. We don't know what their roles are. But again, sometimes the roles have to be reversed in that sense.
How do you handle conflict? It's like, I can be better. I'm working on it. We'll have to figure that out between us. And during the conversation, her sister Sarah was like, I think he's pretty cool, but I want to know more about him, and I want to really see how he's going to be with my sister.
Yeah.
Her parents they talk about them not being in a serious relationship. Is that a concern or a challenge? And he was like, I mean, sirens didn't go off, but I do wonder how it would be. Being in a marriage and in this serious relationship is different from a fling.
Yes.
Where you can just walk out. You can't just walk out. So you got to establish good communication. And he tells them, for me, divorce is not an option. That's not even on the table. So I guess that means, so it has to work. So I guess that means you're stuck with me. And they was like, no, we're stuck with you. It's like, and her mom was like, I think I'm gonna be happy to be stuck with you. So that's cool.
Yeah, we're gonna be stuck with each other. I guess both families are talking about commitment. He's definitely talking about commitment. He said it. I will be highly surprised, right? And I'm not gonna be surprised because most people who say divorce ain't an option, he's gonna be the guy at the end that's like, "Hi, I want a divorce."
Yeah.
He keeps talking about it too much, and it's like most things when somebody keeps talking about it.
There was somebody on a previous season that said that. It was like, no, I'm not.
No,
get divorced, and
we don't do that.
What ended up happening.
That's what ended up happening. So he keeps bringing that part up. I mean, I don't think there's been an episode yet where he didn't say that. They end up divorced, and I don't want them to be, but they're not gonna be together.
All right. So last but not least, it's crumbling, y'all. Claire and Cameron.
Train wreck.
It's crumbling.
It's over.
It's crumbling.
It's over already. I'm be that guy. You want my pick of Claire? What Carrie declare? It's not going to work out.
Well, he's gonna have to change. We'll get into it, but he's gonna have to change his sarcasm. We'll have to be clear. Get on the same page when it comes to emotional and physical.
His idea of what a woman is, and an idea of how women should be treated is totally different from what she expects. And I'm not saying it's just him. And we'll get to it. She needs to open her mouth up. But go ahead. I'm sorry. We'll get there.
But we see them go to their honeymoon suite. They got pink and white rose petals. I told you they shaking it up.
They have budget. They have room in the budget. They're filming in Colorado. It ain't like they filming in Los Angeles, Atlanta, or Chicago. The price is different in Colorado to film. So they have room in their budget.
She asked for help getting out of her dress, and he was like, "Oh, he pretty much got it loose enough where she could get it off the rest of the way by herself." And so, while she's getting changed or whatever, in his vignette, he was like, I'm a pretty good gauge of sexual energy, and she's not really exuding sexual energy.
Not at all. None.
But it's funny that he said that, because then when she says something later, he kind of looks at her like,
because he's.
But you literally said it yourself.
Because he wants her to be all over him, because he's awkward and he don't know how to do it. I don't think he knows how to be.
Well, we'll get into that. He does, but anyway, she was like, for her, she was like, I'm not sure how it's gonna feel. I think what he feels is the awkwardness, because she was like, I haven't slept in a bed with someone in so long. It's gonna be awkward. And to sleep in a bed with somebody. And so when they get up the next morning, hold on, wait, I know, I'm not. So, she was like, I'm gonna go get ready in the bathroom. She puts on her PJ set, the short PJ set.
Right,
is what I'm trying to
say.
A
wide dress. Her wedding
dress.
Yeah,
her wedding dress was on the floor in the corner. Like, he knocks to come in the bathroom. He knocks to come in the bathroom, and so she's just taking her dress off, dropped in the floor, and he was like, I need to brush my teeth. She was like, okay, cool, you can go in. I gotta brush my teeth. He was like, well, why don't you finish up in the bathroom and then I'll come in, and because I need to shower. And so I guess she ended up brushing her teeth, and then she went to bed, and so she's waiting for him, and he's in the shower, like, taking the longest, because she was like, I'm in the bed waiting for my husband to get out the shower. And so
I'm happy he took a shower for him.
Yeah, when he comes back, the part that I tripped off, I was like, he ain't gonna put no pajamas on. Like, he literally laid on the bed in his robe.
So he was asked this question. She was asked that question on After Party.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he have anything on underneath the robe? And she like, yeah, he had shirt, t-shirt, and t-shirt and some shorts on, and in the robe. And Rudy, Keisha Knight Pulliam was like, did he sleep in all that? And he actually slept in.
He slept in the robe.
He slept in the robe and all that. Yes. And on top of the covers, he never got underneath the covers. He said, so he slept. The way you saw him go in the bed was the way that he slept,
bruh,
that night.
I was like, no, you didn't. And so she was like, it's kind of awkward because we didn't have any conversation about cuddling or whatever. Yeah. And she was like, it was like we're just going about our night. And so he jumps on the bed and like to go to sleep. He was like, yeah, I'll go to sleep pretty quickly. Like, she's talking to him, and he was like, if you stop talking, then I promise you I'm gonna be gone. She was like, oh, so you want me to stop talking?
So I watched this part before Jack did. And so when I saw this, I knew when she saw her neck would be tight. She's like, he talking smart? We don't even know he talking what? And she didn't even have a comeback. You would have had a comeback, huh? Mm-hmm. Like, you telling me to shut up till you go to sleep?
Nah, that would be my first thing. I know you ain't telling me shut up. Is that what we doing?
I think she was in shock that he said it. She's like, she was smart enough to know, oh, so you just want me to be quiet till you go to sleep. And he was like,
pretty much.
Pretty much.
So they ain't do no talking. The next morning they get up, how'd you sleep? He was like, I slept fine enough. She was like, I slept phenomenal. She said, and when I woke up, which I'm sure I would be this way too. She was like, when I woke up and I was like, oh, it's somebody beside me. She said, I had to remind myself, you got married yesterday.
You got married yesterday.
It's a stranger, but it's not a stranger.
Yeah.
Didn't nobody come sneak in the bed with you. Like, he went to sleep with you, even though he was on top of the covers in his clothes and his robe.
Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
And he was like, oh, I must have just ignored that you were here last night. He went on to sleep. There was another one. I was like,
the way he says that, I just ignored. Like, you mean I'm nothing? Like, someone needed, and I want to see if is it. Y'all let me know. Is it cultural, or is it just that he doesn't know how to talk to women, or is he always this type of brash? And
I think he's just strange. She was like, last night was it was kind of awkward, like there was no cuddling. She was like, I feel like it's some sparks there, but it needs to develop. And so then they have their breakfast the next morning. And she was like, oh, is this carrots on the avocado toast? And he gives her a whole anecdotal story about his grandmother
and World War II,
being in World War II, and how she had a whole ploy. Well, he said, the thing about carrots being good for your eyesight at night is a lie. And so my grandma used that whole story when she was during World War II.
She was traffic control pilot.
And she was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not really wow, but oh, wow.
Oh, wow, good story. And they talked about how his grandma never told him that she loved him.
Yeah, in that respect, she was like, my grandmother's very similar to me. Like, I know she loved me a lot, but she, like, didn't tell me. And he was like, so I'm like that too. Like, I'm very physical. Like, I could go all day thinking about you, but never tell you I'm thinking about you or tell you that I love you. And then I see you and I want to be all over you and be physical with you. And she was like, oh no, that not for me. Like, me and my family, we say love you. We're affectionate to each other.
Well, her therapist had kicked in, her counselor had kicked in, and she's like, oh, that's an issue because you don't feel loved and you don't feel like you have to say it or do it to go forward. So she started to think on a medical type of experience, a medical type way with him.
And so then with them, Claire meets with his friends Ashley, Matt, and his cousin Alec. And then Cameron meets with her sister Chrissy, which she's one of the quadruplets. Her mom, and then the other sister Kat. And I'm pretty sure Kat's just a sibling. She's not one of the quadruplets too. So when Claire meets with his friends, it's like, how you doing? And she was like, we've had a good start so far. I feel like there's potential. Did you feel like he's ready for marriage? That's what she asked them. And they was like, yes, do feel like he was ready for marriage. And
they just try and get rid of dude.
Ashley was like, he comes off super confident and everything. And to me, basically, she was saying like really pricky and full of himself is what she was trying to say. So she was like, but you have to get to know him. There's a sweet side to him. Again, preparing you. She already heard the snippy comments, just preparing you that he's not like that all the time. That's just the outside. He's very logical with his engineering mind, but he does have strong emotional intelligence. And she was like, well, on that, is he romantic? And they were like,
nope, we ain't seen it.
And they was like, we wouldn't know because we ain't been in a relationship with him.
I never seen it. You never seen it?
Basically, it was like, we don't know.
Nobody knows. He don't even know. Let's be honest. He don't even know if he's romantic enough. He's not. And I have nothing against Cameron, but it's just you can see that he hasn't been taught. And his lack of knowledge.
That's all I can say. So like I said, Cameron met with her family. Her sister Chrissy was like, I got a lot of questions for her. I want to know you're attracted to her. Like, what's this? What's that? How? She was like, I got a lot of questions. Let me start with this. How many serious relationships have you had? He was like 5, but they lasted around a year. So we've been in for a year, take a year, and then we decompress. And then she was like, hold on, wait a minute. How I know you ain't going to take a year with my sister and then decompress? Like, what does that mean? What are you doing?
Take a year, get to know your name, and then I'm not coming back around.
I'm going to need you to stick in it because it's my sister.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Oh, because he already had his mind made up what he wants to do. And I don't think he ever considered what his spouse will want to do.
Yeah, she said, because I'm going to be out for you. Don't do that, my sister. And he says, he's the kind of person that shows love and affection physically, but she verbalizes her feelings. And so he said that might be a problem. If she wants to share, if I want to share, how I feel, he's going to want to pace the physical faster, but she doesn't pace it like that. So we're going to have to find some midway point that we can both be on the same page when it comes to expressing that. He said, I have to be receptive that she may not want me to express myself physically with her.
But he's looking for physical, right? He wants physical, but she's not there yet. And I think he's getting frustrated because she's not there yet. And he wants her to communicate more to him. And we'll see that. But she doesn't know how to communicate that, which you think is kind of weird because she is a therapist, right? And that she should be able to communicate to him or let him know, hey, let's cuddle, or take kind of a control without kind of demeaning him. Like, hey, do you mind me cuddling when you like? If she really wanted to cuddle with him, she could ask, do you mind cuddling tonight? If he really wanted to cuddle, even when they lay down, hey, can we cuddle? You know what I'm saying? Those type of things that I can see they're going to have an issue with just discussing. Like, don't talk to me like that. Or don't do this to me. Or this is the way I want you to, or this is the way I need you to operate. This is the way you make me feel secure, that you make me feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna have their communication is gonna be key, but I don't think they're gonna have it.
Yeah, and so Chrissy was like, I'm still overwhelmed. You know, he seemed like a nice guy, but I still got a whole lot of questions, and you're gonna have to communicate effectively. So later on, we see all the couples meet up together with Cameron and Claire. You know, he was like, meeting with your family went well. You know, we realized we're gonna have to work on communication when it comes to feelings. And she was like, as they prepare to go on a honeymoon, like, I burn quick. He was like, yeah, I turned into a traffic sign.
Yep.
So we both gonna have to put some sunscreen on, some protection. We see all the couples, like I said, they get their baskets. They find out they're going to Cancun, the Palladium. Lauren does the obvious.
Go get her hair braided.
She's a natural hair girly and a black girl. And so when we go on vacation, the classic black
TikTok
girl
thing.
Vacation hairstyle. She went and got her hair braided.
No braids.
She had her scarf on. She was like, I lay my edges down before we go. So
I know what time it is. Yep.
But so they all meet in the lobby, and it's like, oh, okay, hey, you know, they're because they saw each other at the bachelorette and bachelor party, but now they're getting together. And here comes Michael. They're like, oh wow, there's Michael. Where's your wife? He was like, about that.
Let me tell you about that. Now, this is what always the girls, and I'm sure it's a lot of editing. They know who she is.
Right.
They don't never say her name. They seen her. They've been there. They even had a bridal shower with her. But if I'm Michael, which they don't show, I'll ask them, like, tell me about her. What did you know?
Bruh, and to me, when they was talking about it, unless they just didn't put the camera in their faces, none of them looked like,
they didn't put the camera in their faces. They were shocked. I think they were shocked.
Yeah, but they definitely did not show their face. Because I would be like, what you, girl, sis, stood you up? But the one thing with them talking to Michael, they came out as, they was like, you know what? You obviously got a good head on your shoulders because the way you're talking about it, you know, took it in stride. The one thing he did clarify is he did not talk to the bride. She talked through a letter. He never talked to her.
The letter that we saw, I think, was episode 2.
Mm-hmm. And he was like, but you know what? They were like, you know, do you want to talk to her? He was like, I don't need to talk to her. Not in a mean way, but like, I don't need an apology. You know, I'm good.
Because that's what she felt.
That's how she felt. And they basically were like, don't take it personally. You know, I think he's at a point now where he's like, you know, she just wasn't ready to get married. And they were like, well, Dad, she went through everything else. You picked a dress. You did a bachelorette party. You got your bridesmaids. You told your family. And for you to get to the wedding,
you get the production.
Come down the aisle. Like, no,
can't do this. That's when you think about it that way, it is a shot in the heart.
Yeah.
Because you easily could have canceled this thing beforehand. I didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through the embarrassment or the hurt. But
So last few things though they were like, you know, you can come with us on a honeymoon. He was like, that was real nice.
I'm sitting here like, this dude better not go on his honeymoon.
Nah, I knew he wasn't going to do it.
I'm sitting here like, he better not go. You don't want to be the third wheel on anybody else's honeymoon.
Yeah, the one thing
Chris was in the Boston season though.
Yeah, the one thing he said, he was like, I would go on a honeymoon. You know, I'm kind of jealous of all this cuteness in the couples, but you know, it is what it is. The other thing, so they go to Cancun. They're excited about the warm weather. The only thing I would take out of that is Claire talking about Cameron. We got to see more of the pricky side of Cameron.
Yes.
She was like, he's a minimalist. He had like one suitcase, like a carry-on bag, and on the after party, she was like, he had like 3 shirts, a couple pairs of pants. He had what he had on. That's it. And she was like making me look like a fool because I got a bag. But she was like, he didn't help her in the airport with the bags.
He walked real fast. And she said,
I got little legs.
I know he's gonna walk fast, right? Because he's
taller.
He's taller. I understand that, but at least you can wait. There you go, leaving me again.
Yeah.
There you go. Just you don't like me or something.
And yeah, she was like, you didn't even help me with my bag. He was like, well, I was told, you know, it's rude to assume a woman can't. She was like, but out of common courtesy, you at least ask or you offer to help a woman. And he was like, well, did you help me with my bag? I was like, dude, really? Are you serious?
Oh, no, he's 100% serious. Again, he had not had anybody who teach him how to be in a relationship. I don't think he's been in a serious relationship. He has to work. I've been around a lot of women. He has to work this thing out, and it's not the way he's talking. I hope the experts will get with him. Pastor Cal get with him and say, "Yo, man, this is what men do. But this is how men have or treat women with respect.
Mhm.
Like she may not tell you to open the door, but it's nice to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's nice to do. So
yeah. But she said, again, I'm independent, but it would have been nice if he asked for help. And, they had a conversation. So are you angry? No, I'm not angry. Just kind of figured it out. She said, well, it goes back to communication. I guess at some point she did communicate with him and he tried to wait for her, but he still didn't help her with her bags. So is it anything that you're annoyed with? And he says, no, you're amazing. She was like, really? It was very sarcastic the way he said it. I was like, I would bop him in his head. And so,
I keep trying to figure out, is it him or is it coach? I don't know if it's a coach. I think it's him.
Yeah, I think it's him.
I think it's him. I think it don't have anything to do with culture. It is him.
Yeah, I think it's him. And so, I think we're comfortable with each other, but we're not really romantic at this moment. Don't you think? And she waits for him to answer. He's like, sure. That's what I'm like. When he says before that she wasn't exuding any sexual energy, and then for him to look at her with eyes blinking like, did she just say that? You said before that you didn't get it. And now she's saying it, and you're like,
well, she's trying to open up. She's trying to get to communicate. She's trying to get the things they should have discussed. I can't say should have. The things they needed to discuss the wedding night. And they're discussing the day after. But again, he doesn't get it. He don't get it.
And the other thing he said was like, she was talking about, you could hold my hand. Or, I thought you weren't in a hand holding. She was like, no, I'm not against it. And he said what took him off guard is like, when it came to the physical, he was feeling like a hard stop, like a no. And so for her to then be talking about being physical, he was like, I'm confused. So
yeah, he's confused. But again, it goes lies.
Y'all had to have that conversation.
She may like her hand holding, right? Some people don't like hand holding. Some people don't like hugging. Some people don't, you know what I'm saying? Hug me at 10 o'clock after I'm woken my breakfast straight. I don't know, but have those conversations. That's where they're struggling at, and that's where she's struggling at. And I think she's beating herself up more about it because she's a therapist, right? I should know how to communicate with people. I should know how to interact. I should know how to be forthright in coming. But she seems like she's becoming more reserved and allow him to try to initiate the move instead of neither one of them trying to initiate. They both want the same thing, but neither one of them are initiating the intimacy so they can have intimacy.
I'm just curious to see how the honeymoon is going to be for them. I feel like it's going to be dry.
It's over.
It's going to be dry.
It is over.
So
she don't get him. He don't get her. And she's trying the best she can. Then this is, as y'all see the thumbnail, it's over.
We'll see.
It's over.
But we'll see once they get into the honeymoons next week how everything goes down.
Yeah. Hey, make sure you hit the subscribe. Oh, we forgot one before the subscribe button on the bus ride. His reservation comment, and which shows his ignorance about.
But it wasn't even that. So he does make.
I don't even think it was bad.
He was talking about going to Cancun. Some people said, been to Cancun before. And he was like, basically, like, you have to be careful how far you go off the reservation. And he immediately says, oh, sorry. Looking at Orion. And Lauren's like, no, you didn't. No. He meant resort. He said reservation and looks at Orion like, sorry. And that was a whole thing. And he was like.
He might be on the spectrum.
But this is my thing. People say that you don't go too far off the reservation. To me, it was the fact that he immediately was like, "Oh, my bad, sorry."
I don't think it was a bad comment. They used the word reservation.
He made it worse.
He made it worse when he said
sorry, like, "Oh, not trying to offend you because I know your people be on reservations."
But the Native Americans still call it reservations.
I know, but still, anyway. There was somebody, and I couldn't tell whose voice was like, oh wow, was that racist?
No, it wasn't racist. Everything's not racist these days. I'm sorry, that wasn't racist.
It was just insensitive, and you shouldn't have said that. And then you make it more obvious when if it's just a slip of the tongue or it's something that you just say anyway. Then when you apologize, like, sorry, I didn't mean to say that to you. Did it offend you?
Yes, but again, you have a person who doesn't have any clue. I don't think he has a clue.
But anyway.
Hey, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you thought about this episode of Married at First Sight. Let us know what you thought about the reservation comment. Let us know what you think about Cameron and Claire. Is it over already? I think so. It's over. It's done.
We'll see.
We'll see. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.